I will not harm you, I will not do anything to you until you drink this water. So you're safe. While you're drinking the water, you're safe. I will not do anything to you until you drink this water. This is what he said to him. لا بأس عليك حتى تشربه. This wording is very important because you'll see the game that Hurmuzan plays here. Umar radiallahu anh says, لا بأس عليك حتى تشربه. That nothing will happen to you until you drink it. So then what happens? What does he do? Instead of drinking the water, he throws the glass to the ground. Cracks, shatters, all the water is on the ground. So then Umar radiallahu anh asked him, Ma baluk? Why did you do this? What's your problem? And then he says to his people, Umar radiallahu anh says to his people, أعيدوا عليه الماء فلا نجمع عليه بين القتل والعطش. He said, bring more water to him because we will not combine thirst and death for this person. That we will not kill him while he is thirsty. Let him drink, then we will execute him. And then Al-Hurmuzan said, wait. How can you execute me? How can you kill me? You promised me safety. And then Umar radiallahu anh says, you have lied. I have never promised you safety. And then Hurmuzan says, no, I'm not lying. You promised me safety. And then Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anh, who was there, who was present, he says, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, he's telling the truth. You technically did promise him safety. And then Umar radiallahu anh is angry at Anas. Like, how can you say that? I know I didn't promise him safety. What are you saying that I promised him safety? And then he says to Anas ibn Malik that if you don't have a good explanation for what you're saying that Hurmuzan is speaking the truth, that he says I promised him safety. If you don't have a good explanation for that, for supporting what he's saying, then I will punish you, Ya Anas. So then Anas says to him, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, when you gave him the water and he started shaking his hand, you said to him, لا بأس عليك حتى تشربه. لا بأس عليك حتى تشربه. That nothing will happen to you, will not hurt you, we will not kill you until you drink this water. Now, he has not drunk the water. He cannot drink the water now. So, he is safe until he drinks that water. So, now he is completely safe because he cannot drink the water. He will never be drinking this water. It's on the ground. So then the other Sahaba radiallahu anhum who were there, they said like, yeah, technically, this is true. You did promise him safety until he drinks the water. Now he's not drinking the water and he's not going to drink the water. So that promise of safety, it's there. So the other Sahaba who were there, they said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, even though this is not what you meant, obviously, the words can be twisted into this type of a way. So then Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anh, he understands this. And he says to Al-Hurmuzan, he says, you tricked me. And I'm not a person who gets tricked. So this is not going to keep you safe because everyone knows what I meant when I said what I said. And even you know what I meant and everyone else knows what I meant. It's clear. You're just trying to play games here with words. So I will not allow you to trick me. This plan of yours is not going to work. But the only way that I will give you safety, you can have safety, is if you accept Islam. If you become a Muslim, if you take the Shahadatain, then I will not kill you. So Al-Hurmuzan agrees to do this, right? So by his tongue, he takes the Shahada. He says, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. So technically, by his tongue, he became a Muslim, and Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anh allowed him to stay in Al-Madinah. Al-Hurmuzan stayed in Medina, but this is not the end of the story of Hurmuzan. Towards the end of the Khilafah of Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anh, you will hear more about Al-Hurmuzan and what role he played. Even though it is not something that was ever proven, there's a lot of evidence that points that he eventually played a role in the assassination of Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, Hurmuzan. But he took the Shahada here, right? He needed to be safe. He didn't want to be killed. So he said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. So Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu allowed him to stay in Al-Madinah. So now Hurmuzan is in Medina. As for his palace that was captured in Persia, the palace of Hurmuzan, some of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they entered that palace and they looked around the palace And one of the companions, a man named As-Sa'ib ibn al-Aqra' radiyallahu anh, he found an idol in that palace. And that idol had an arm. The idol, it had an arm with one finger pointing to a certain position on the ground. So it was kind of strange the way that this idol was constructed. So As-Sa'ib ibn al-Aqra', he said, like, look, there is something about this idol, and the way that its hand is positioned, the way that its finger is positioned, it means something. So he looked to where that finger was pointing to the ground, and he saw that that place, when he dug that place where the idol's finger was pointing towards, they dug into the ground in that place, they found a huge jug-like container buried there. And that jug-like container was filled with all sorts of beautiful, precious jewels. Rubies, emeralds, diamonds, sapphires, all sorts of precious jewels. So As-Sa'ib ibn al-Aqra', who discovered this treasure, he took it to the governor of Basra. He took it to Abu Musa al-Ash'ari radiyallahu anh. And he asked Abu Musa, like, from all of this, this is from the spoils of war. This is from the spoils of war, this big container of jewels. He said, for my portion, Ya Abu Musa, for my portion, I just want this one ring. There was one ring that had a beautiful stone on it. He said, I don't want anything, just let me have this one ring. So Abu Musa said, okay, you're the one who found it, and this is going to be distributed as spoils of war anyways. If you want this for your portion, this one ring, you can take it. So As-Sa'ib ibn al-Aqra' radiyallahu anh, he was given that one ring. And then Abu Musa al-Ash'ari radiyallahu anh, he sent the container to Medina. So Umar ibn Khattab radiyallahu anh could decide what to do with it. So Umar radiyallahu anh, he received the container of jewels in Medina, and then he called Hurmuzan, because he knew that this was taken from the palace of Hurmuzan. So Hurmuzan can explain what this is. So he calls Hurmuzan, and then he asks Hurmuzan, Ya Hurmuzan, do you recognize these jewels? And he says, yes, of course I recognize these jewels. These are the jewels from my palace. And then Al-Hurmuzan, he looked at it and he said, but there is one ring that's missing. I can tell that there is one ring that's missing. Like, look at Al-Hurmuzan, that he knows every single piece of his jewelry, right? He can notice one single ring missing. So he said there is one ring that is missing. And then Umar radiallahu anh, he said, yes, the one who discovered it, As-Sa'ib ibn al-Aqra', he asked the governor of Basra, Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, if he could have it. So Abu Musa allowed him to have it. That's that one ring that's missing. So then Hurmuzan said, that man who took the ring, he has a very good eye for jewels. The stone that he chose, that ring that he chose, is not just any normal piece of jewelry. It's very rare and very special. That was the best piece of jewelry in that whole container, and he chose it. So he has a very good eye for jewelry. Now, when Hurmuzan was brought to Medina, a delegation of Muslims from Persia, they brought him to Medina. A delegation of Muslims who had settled there in Persia. They're the ones who brought Al-Hurmuzan to Medina. So they're still there in Medina. Hurmuzan is in Medina, and the delegation of Muslims from Persia is still there in Medina as well. So Umar radiallahu anh, he gathered this Persian delegation, and he asked them, why are there so many revolts in your land? You take over a land and then they revolt against you. Then you take it over again, then they revolt against you again. Then you take it over again. How many times are they going to revolt against you? Why are they revolting against you continuously? Are you not ruling justly? This was the first question he asked them. He said, look, if you're ruling the people with justice and with fairness, then what reason do they have to revolt? So he wanted to bring them to account first. Are you doing something wrong? Are you not ruling in the right way so that the people continue to revolt against you? And then this Muslim delegation, they say, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, to our knowledge and to our ability, we have been fair as much as we can. So then he asked them, then why? Why are they continuing to revolt against you? So one of the Muslims from that delegation, Al-Ahnaf ibn Qais radiyallahu anh, he says, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, I think I know the reason why they continue to revolt against us. He says, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, we reached a certain point, we conquered a certain number of cities, and then you told us to stop expanding. You told us to pause the conquest. But Yazdajard, who was the Kisra of Persia, he's still alive and he's still plotting. And until we can neutralize him, the revolts will continue because he has people who are loyal to him. They still consider him their king. So they're loyal to him. So as long as he's still around, the revolts will continue. So we need to finish off Yazdajard. This is my opinion. If we kill Yazdajard, if he's out of the equation, then inshallah the revolts will stop. So Al-Ahnaf ibn Qais, he said to Umar ibn Khattab, he said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, my opinion is that you allow us to continue this conquest of Persia. Let us continue and move eastward and expand the borders more. And in the meantime, we will be able to capture and kill Yazdajard as well. So Umar radiallahu anh, listening to this analysis, he says, Sadaqt, you have spoken the truth. So Umar radiallahu anh, he ordered for the conquest of Persia to continue. He had halted it, he had paused it for a while, but now he says it's time to continue with the conquest of Persia and expand our borders. So they have already conquered Iraq, now they're going to extend eastwards and go into what is modern day Iran. So he ordered for this conquest to be continued. Now in the meantime, of course, Yazdajard, he was busy trying to form an army. He had gathered his forces at Nahawand, and he was able to muster the support of some of the small regional kingdoms in the area as well. There were a number of small kingdoms that had been allied with the Persian Empire. There was the kingdom of Bab, the kingdom of Sindh, the kingdom of Khurasan, and some other small kingdoms. They were technically independent, but they had allied themselves with the much larger Persian Empire. So now they feared that now that the Persian Empire has fallen, that the Muslims will come for us next. So when Yazdajard asked for the support of these people to reclaim his empire, they gave him their support. These small regional kingdoms, they said, yes, you have our support, we will support you against the Muslims. So Yazdajard now he's plotting and he's trying to form an army in order to retake the Persian Empire. Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqqas radiallahu anh, he sent a letter to Umar radiallahu anh informing him about these developments, and Umar radiallahu anh sent Sa'ad instructions on what to do in order to neutralize this threat and in order to defeat Yazdajard and his army. And inshallah we'll continue to speak about that next week bi'idhnillah. بارك الله فيكم والله أعلم وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. If we have any questions, inshallah, we can take those now. بارك الله فيكم. All right, no questions? بارك الله فيكم. Inshallah, we'll continue with the biography of Amir al-Mu'mineen Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu next week, inshallah. جزاكم الله خير وبارك الله فيكم وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.